Guys, what's going on? You will not believe it. Tonight, Evan Turner is here with me. Yeah, on the Bone Jar. I have a ton of questions for him. I got a ton of exciting things to talk about. Our show tonight is sponsored by Pyro Drone, so there's going to be a really cool raffle, and there's a special surprise that's sponsored by 533.com. We'll get into that in just a minute. Maybe I'll even let Evan tell you what the surprise is, but I'm excited. Thanks for joining us here on the Bone Jar. He's here, guys. Evan Turner. Hey, Evan, what's going on? It's so great to see you, man. I think most of the people watching know who you are, but there'll be a lot of people in the future watching this stuff that are just getting into it, maybe that are just brand new to it and are just experiencing Evan Turner for the very first time. So, I mean, I know you're a MultiGP champion 2 years in a row. I know your story. I know all about you. I know you just won the DRL, but let's rewind. Let's take us all the way back to Evan Turner, 6 years old. Just found his very first drone. Tell us about how you got into drones. How did this all start for you?
For Christmas, and that day I had no idea what that would evolve into. I guess now I am as you said, a pilot on the DRL, the Drone Racing League. So that makes me a professional drone pilot, which just, I mean, it sounds crazy coming out of my mouth, I would say, and it really has changed my life. And something, it's so cool to me, like starting out at 6 years old, just flying with my dad. And it's still to this day being a hobby that I just do with my dad, that we can like bond and enjoy together. It's really so cool that that's kind of turned into a job and possible like career path for me. And, you know, even if this all goes away tomorrow, I've experienced so many awesome things thanks to drones and the community that I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I'm very, very fortunate for all the opportunities I've been given. And I'm kind of to the point now where I want to try and give back as much as I can. And getting on this podcast was something I was really excited for, to come talk to you guys.
Oh, dude, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. So your dad got you into it. Your dad came out and said, hey, here's a drone, go fly it. I mean, what kind of drone was it? What was the very first drone you had? What kind was that thing?
I think I have a picture. I think I just posted on my Instagram a couple of days ago of it. And it was my dad. We got into it at the same time. And like, he never flown any planes before. I never flown any planes before. And it was just like something he thought would be funny or just fun to do. I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but there, it's really hard to see. That's me when I was 6 years old in my very first RC airplane.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that was kind of how it all started. It's just something like that. We went out to the local like university, flew it in like their big like practice football field or something. I'm sure, I mean, I don't remember. I'm sure we crashed it. I'm almost certain. But then it was like, like you crash it, it's whatever, you're upset. I mean, a 6-year-old has like you think in the future more than like 10 seconds and it feels like you're going crazy. So like, I was like, my plane's gone. I hate this. But like, then you have to go back, learn how to fix it, rebuild. And it was just learning from that very beginning. And then the next time you fly, I got a little bit better. And it was just like that little bit of excitement to see that like you fixed this thing, or like you were doing it with your dad and he was just as excited as you were because he's never flown before either. And it was just a really cool just hobby that I got to do with my dad. I didn't think anything of it. And even now, I don't like to think of this as like, oh, I'm trying to make a living for myself. You know, this is what I love to do. I would pay to do this. And I have in the past to do all these things. And so, yeah, I am very, very lucky. And my dad and my parents and my whole family have been so supportive of all the things that I've gotten to do. And it wouldn't be possible without them. And, you know, again, started out as just a little 6-year-old who wanted to fly an RC plane with his dad. And here I am.
So you mentioned building. So do you still build right now? I mean, what's the last drone you built?
Yeah, if my dad's watching this and if other people are watching this, they'll give me a hard time. So my dad, I guess I started at 6. And of course, you give a 6-year-old and tell them to build an airplane, they're probably not going to do too well. So my dad was very big into building all my planes in the very beginning, and I would sit there and help him as much as I could, but he would get mad at me for losing tools and not shining the light the right way and just things like that. Right. But then as I got older and I got into racing more, this was just, I guess now 3 or 4 years ago, he was building my drones initially, But then I was like, well, that doesn't look good, or this doesn't look like. And he was like, all right, well, you need to learn how to build them. And so I got into building myself. And of course, I love that. I love the soldering and all the programming and so forth, trying to make the drone fly the best it can, testing out different setups. But then I got to a point where I was in the middle of school. I was traveling as much as I could for other racing leagues and doing like multiple leagues at once. And I was like, I just can't. I don't have time really to maintain all these different fleets of drones for all these different leagues. So that's when I actually partnered with Armando. And there's a crazy story to Armando now. We still have a great relationship, but he is a guy that kind of reached out to me saying he would be happy to build and maintain my drones. And so he builds, for the most part, all of my the quads that I race in, like the MultiGP Championships and so forth.
Wow, we all need an Armando. How'd you meet Armando? He contacted you.
Well, so I've known he was in the community, a guy that I've met at multiple races, and I kind of reached out on Facebook to ask, saying that what I was looking for is someone to build some drones for me, help him maintain them. And he reached out as one of those guys saying like, yeah, I'm happy to. And I was timid at first, like something like these drones when you're racing and it's so like important to you, it's really hard to like give that responsibility to someone else. He's done amazing. And that is only a small part of what we are now. So now, crazy story, like he was like, hey, I was getting to the point in my career that like we were going to start designing frames and start designing motors, and people wanted to put my name on their products. And I was talking to Armando and talking about what I wanted in a frame. And he was actually a former aerospace engineer at Boeing, people who make the airplanes. And he was like, well, I actually have some ideas on a frame. And that's what the Switchback came from, our very first product. And which was my signature frame, racing frame. And we were going to go with another company. They were going to like cut it for us, sell it for us, and it was going to have my name on it. But then we were I remember I was flying back from Turkey, the World Drone Cup. I got on a phone call with him, and the idea is kind of sparked of like, what would happen if we did it ourselves? And, we were just going to sell a couple frames out of my basement and just go about our day. I think it'd be something fun to do. And now that was a year and a half ago, which is crazy to think about from my side. But yeah, it's been a crazy little journey. And, it just started out again as Armando, just, hey, I'll build you some quads here and there. And now we're business partners per se. And, it's been a really cool thing. But I'd say the most recent quad I built, or worked on, etc., was the Tiny Trainer. Armando's hosting races in St. Louis, doing these spec races with the Tiny Trainer. So I've got mine right here. So this is our Tiny Trainer, which is as you can see, it's a 3-inch size drone, toothpick-esque. And it's meant to it was meant to help me train for DRL. So I actually have a Racer 4 right here, which is the DRL drone. And so this is like, as you can see, like a baby version of it
so
to
cool.
help me practice for the DRL. And that's and go ahead.
Now might be a great time to tell everybody what our special giveaway is. You were nice enough to donate something to the show today. What are we going to give away in our raffle in a few?
Yeah, so I saw that you guys were doing a raffle and I wanted to contribute. Of course, you guys bringing me on the show, I was really appreciative. So we are going 5 through 3 is going to donate a Tiny Trainer frame kit, which is the frame you're seeing here. It'll come with the black or cyan prints, the light blue, the orange are a little special I got from Armando, I guess. And then we're also donating the motors. So we have spec motors. These are the Tiny Turner motors. It's a cheesy name, I know.
No way, dude, that's awesome.
But
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a cheesy name, but they are the 1404 45 33 kV motors that we are recommending for the Tiny Trainer that we do all these spec races with all across the country. So yeah, we're going to donate both of those to you guys. Anyone on the stream can win them in the raffle, however that works.
Yes.
But they'll be shipped out straight from my basement. And if you guys, whoever wins, you want me to sign something, put some extra stickers, extra caramels, whatever you want, it's literally going out like 2 stories below where I am right now. So
that is so cool. Well, we thank you tremendously for such an awesome and a generous gift. That is really, really cool. Oh man, please don't tell me you froze. Let's see here. Evan, where are you at? You with me? Oh man, he's coming back hopefully. Technical difficulties. It always happens. So on the bow jar, you can enter into that raffle right now. The first raffle we're doing is for Pyro Drone. Let me see if I can get him back here. Where'd you go? Heads up. Might have to resend his link. Well, we can talk a little bit about Pyrodrone. Pyrodrone.com has given us a $15 raffle here. Maybe he's coming back. No, not yet. So we have a $15 gift certificate to give away. That's going to happen in pretty soon. Looks like less than 30 minutes. We're giving that away. Oh, man. Where did poor Evan go? Let's see here. I'll re-invite him here. Just a few technical difficulties here. Talk amongst yourself. I'm sure he's coming back someday, somewhere. Okay, let's invite him. Heads up. Here we go. Everybody, cross your fingers. Just a little technical difficulties, I'm sure. I'm sure he's coming back. I don't think I said anything to offend him greatly. Oh, I think we're coming back, maybe. Good.
Back.
Hey,
Wow.
there he is. It's all good.
I'm sorry. My computer, I don't know what happened back there, but it just turned off. So I had to go find it. And oh my God, I just ran a marathon. But I'm back.
Thank you. So sorry about that happened, man. It's all cool.
Not at all. That was not sure whose fault, but I definitely my side. But it's all good now. Got a new computer, slightly worse camera, but I think we'll make it work.
Thank you, Evan. You're the man. Cool. All right, cool. Well, yeah, we were just talking about the raffle anyway. We're talking about all the cool stuff that we're going to give away on the show tonight. So we really didn't miss much. Anyway, so cool. So what's next for you? You going to college? I mean, you're finishing up school this year, right? You're a senior?
Yeah, so I'm a senior in high school right now, and I am not going to college currently. So that was obviously a very big decision for me.
Yeah.
But I, like I said, I have a lot of opportunities per se that have been presented to me.
Sure.
And as far as 5v3, being on the DRL, doing all these filming gigs and so forth, I've got a lot that I can take advantage of, and I want to. And you know that everybody always says that if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And to be in my position right now, I just feel it'd be stupid for me to kind of shy away from all this and to go a different route and to take away the focus from all this, because I feel like if I work really hard to do this, then I can make something out of it. And even if I don't, then I will, again, have had so many awesome experiences that I can't turn down. So it was a very tough decision to make for sure. But I am excited to have made it. And, you know, I can always go back, and I have a very supportive family. I'm very fortunate. But I am just going to make the most of it. And if it goes well, it goes well. And if it doesn't, then so be it. But I'm going to give everything I have all I can. And I'm very happy with how it's going so far.
Well, talk to us about 533, because that's a heck of a company. I mean, I'm poking around on your website, and I'm impressed to all heck. I mean, there's got to be a huge future in that for you. How did that come about? How did you start 533?
Yeah, so it really started in Turkey, I would say, which is crazy to say, but I was at the World Drone Cup in Turkey, and I was sitting there, and it was a table with me, Serge from Pyroflip, as you know, and then Trappy from TBS, the owner of Team Black Sheep. And we were all kind of sitting there talking. We were sitting there looking at the new frame that Armando had designed for me, and just kind of talking about it and how we were going to go about selling it. And I was telling them we were going to work with another company, and just they hadn't even crossed my mind that I would sell it myself. But they were obviously two of the most respected people in the industry, and I thank them all the time for kind of pushing me in this direction. But they were saying that, it wouldn't hurt to, throw up a website, buy the frames yourself, put them in a package, and just sell them yourself. Why not try it? And I, at this point in my life, this was, like I said, it's probably about 2 years ago, a year and a half ish. When people asked me what I wanted to do, I had no idea. Of course, drone racing was not what it is today. And I mean, even to now, drone racing is not some long-term career for me. It's obviously something I'm very excited for. right now, but it's like any professional athlete. I probably more than likely will not be here in the position I am. So I'm trying to make the most of it while I can. And so I was always unsure of what I would do outside of racing, and I'd never found something that like really excited me for work to work like to it could be something bigger than just racing or flying RC like I have my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
But after, they can kind of gave me that idea. I got into again. I called Armando on my way back, sitting in the airport. It was in the Washington airport, DC airport, and I was like, "Hey man, like, what do you think about like us doing this ourselves?" And kind of, it was really luck. I've been very lucky several times, meeting the right people at the right times, as far as like getting a website built. And it's so much of this. I've been very fortunate to find like just like the guy who built our website, I helped him get his first quad going at a tiny whoop race in like 2 years prior. And it was just like he knew who I was, and I was just like his tiny whoop didn't work, and I was like, let's fix it. And I went over there, got it working, and he was so appreciative. And then he kind of got wind of, and he had started several successful businesses in the past, and he caught wind of me getting into this, and he was a huge help. His name is Matthew Hill. It's been a huge help to me from the very beginning, and I still have meetings with him like every month, kind of like as my mentor almost. So and there were so many things like that of just I obviously was able to have pretty good connections within the industry already with being sponsored pilot in the past and going to races and meeting people.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very, very helpful because I wasn't going into an industry that I, one, wasn't familiar with. I was very familiar with the industry. And two, I already had all these great connections. And instead of going up to them asking for like parts to work with as a sponsored pilot, I was now going to them wanting to work on products with them. And it was kind of a great little relay because I've been big on any of my sponsors in the past. I've always been big on like loyalty. I don't want to be the type that's jumping from sponsor to sponsor. And so luckily I had some really good relationships built up around the community, and they've been in return helped me out a lot. So that's been something I'm very, very grateful for. And 523 has gone from our very first product coming out in November of 2019 to now having um, dozens of products. We have dozens on the horizon, and it has turned into something where it's bigger than I could have ever imagined. But like I was saying earlier, like I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I didn't know what I was passionate about outside of flying. And this has just been something that I've absolutely loved. I love the late nights, early mornings. I love the marketing. I love all that, just doing it all at once. I thrive off pressure with racing. I'm under pressure all the time, and I love that. I love being in that space. And when you run a business, it's very similar. There's a lot of times when there's a lot of pressure built up on your decisions. One decision could absolutely like ruin something. It could be a terrible product that nobody likes. You just wasted a bunch of money, or it could be a great product that could go super, super well. And there's so much risk and reward and so many things you have to analyze and multitask at once. And I've been so happy to have done this. It's taught me so much. And things that I wouldn't learn in high school. I mean, I can go to high school and take the business class or the economics class and so forth, but I've been so fortunate to simultaneously be doing what I love and learning about all this things that I need to know for life at the same time. And I just feel so incredibly lucky to have done that. I've had so many people be helpful for me getting there throughout all of this. So it wasn't all me. I haven't done what I've done is just only a small portion of what's happened. And I've been again very lucky to have all the right people around me, and it's all thanks to just building good relationships way before any of this even happened. And I think that, I mean, you see a bunch of FEV companies sparking up all over the place, and they're all trying to jump in to make a quick buck, and they all throw out and they all like go out of business really fast. But I think I've been Armando and I both came into this not wanting to make this a job, not wanting to make this a career, but just to sell a couple frames in my basement. And now it has grown from just the passion and like authenticity, I would say, is really what has made us into what we are now. Is that it's two guys. I'm a pilot. I fly every single day. Armando's a pilot engineer, and we love this sport. We love this hobby. Armando's he's running races and all and stuff all the time. I'm trying to give back to the community and so forth, however I can, all the time. And that is, I think, really what has been so special about 523 is that how authentic it is and how much passion is really running the company at all times.
What are you guys working on? What's the next thing are you developing? I mean, without giving any too many secrets
Yeah.
away, what are you guys working on?
Well, we just came out with the new racing frame, which is the Switchback Pro. So
Yeah.
that's like the newest rendition. So here it is right here. This is actually the quad I flew at the
Sick.
Nationals, the MultiGP Champs here recently.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what we worked on most recently, of course, working with all the pilots that we did. We have a great group of pilots that we support, and they in turn help us with developing new stuff. Um, and I would say there's so much on the horizon. It's really difficult to put it all into one thing. I'll give a small, I guess I'll give a small hint of where 523 is going. And so right now we sell frames, motors, just propellers, things like that. And we started out just like a very small company, and we're not in the position to go in full. Of course, that requires a lot of capital, a lot of money. And so we started out small, and we just slowly started growing. But now we're to the point now where we are in a position where we can grow relatively quickly, and we have now that brand kind of built up. Everybody is starting to know who 523 is. I'm very fortunate to be able to market it myself. The names are becoming intertwined, HeadsUP and 533, which has been great.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're wanting to go bigger and to like be like your one-stop shop where you can come in and get a 533 charger, a 533 radio, a 533 motor, a 533 propeller, 533 everything, and it's just going to work. And that's been our biggest thing is, FPV is relatively difficult to get into. And we want to, especially in the racing scene, it's growing every single day, it seems like. And it's really difficult to know what to get to. Oh, this person's running this, but this person's running this. And oh, well, he's sponsored. Does he really mean that? And we're trying to come out with genuine products that all work together by genuine pilots, and just again have that passion and that community and that just authenticity behind it all. It's really pushing it. And do they talk about customer service? I feel like is a big topic in all of these in
Oh yeah.
FPV and et cetera. And you can just, I'd say our mainstream of customer service is people just messaging me on Facebook, texting me, doing whatever, DMing me on Instagram, etc. And you're not talking to someone else. People like when they DM 533 on Instagram, they're like, "Hi, sir, like who is this? Blah blah blah." And it's me. You're talking to me. You're talking to Armando,
Wow.
the two people. You're not talking to anybody else. You're talking to me. I'm happy to help you whenever I can. People give me crap all the time. Like if I'm at school, and they're like, "Why are you on your phone? Why are you always on the laptop? Why is email always up?" It's like, well, I'm trying to respond to this person because like he can't figure out how to build this frame, and this person really likes it and wanted just to say thank you, and just trying to respond to everybody. It's not somebody else. It's us. I'm putting 100% of my effort into this, making 5-3 the best it can be. And again, I don't think that's really something you can find elsewhere. And that's what I'm trying to be, is trying to show people that like this is what I want to do. This is what I love doing. I'm not doing this for a buck. I'm doing this for just because I love it. And I love hearing like, oh, I love your product, or oh, like thanks so much. Here's me like getting second place, getting last place at a race. I flew your product. I don't care. Like as long as you're enjoying it, then that it really just means so much to me. And that's why I try and work as hard as I do to give back, is because I love seeing that so much, and to see more people get involved in FPV. And I guess result of 5-3, it really means a lot. So that's and we're just gonna try and make it as big as we can to bring even more people in.
Well, that's such an interesting thing that you brought up about like doing customer service at school. So like you must live a double life. Do the people at school, like you're sitting in algebra, like do the people like next to you like, hey, that's the guy who was just on the DRL who's like the world's fastest freaking drone pilot. I mean, do they know how
Yeah.
like how many people at school know your life? Are you Batman or what? What's it like?
I would say as nerdy, I guess if we go way back, I really was almost like shy and like embarrassed about being like the flying drones all the time. And oh, what are you doing on the weekend? Oh, nothing, but I'm going to a drone race in X place and stuff. But now, it definitely got to the point where it was a little bit harder to hide, I would say. And like, especially with the business and everything, it got to something where I was, I'm a senior in high school, and if I'm worried about that, then I'm not going to be anywhere in life. So I was just like, who cares? I'm passionate about this. I love doing this. I've gotten to the point where not many people have gotten in the industry or whatever they do. So people have started to find out more and more about it. The school, obviously, I actually went homeschooled for a semester just to travel and go do all the races that I could. People were like, "Where'd you go for 6 months?" And I was like, "Well, I went and traveled like all of Europe and Asia to fly drones." Um, and then so people, and then of course now the business, it's funny. Like, we have 5-3 crew necks, and I have just buddies then they'll like, oh, that's a cool sweatshirt. Where'd you get it? Well, it's my business, and they'll buy them. So like today, there were 2 people wearing
Mm,
533 crew necks. And
nice.
it's really kind of cool just to, I mean, of course, to have your friends and people in your school support you and stuff. None of them, I'm sure, I mean, it's so difficult to understand like the magnitude of all this stuff. Um, but I guess I'm just known as a guy who runs a business, flies drones, is on TV every now and then, and I mean, yeah, people again, not many people know too much about it. They know that I do it, but I'm not in the business of trying to tell people all the stuff that I'm doing. Of
Mm.
course, people ask about it. I'm happy to tell them about it, but I'm just trying to go out and do the best I can at all this. And if you're interested, you're interested. If you're not, then so be it.
Wow,
But that's
that's
kind
so
of
crazy.
my outlook on it. But it is kind of funny to be in class, responding to messages, or be in class trying to make a social media post about some new prop or something's in stock, etc. And but it's been a cool experience nonetheless, and everybody is really supportive of it and excited about it. So I'm in a very fortunate position, I'd say.
That's yeah, amazing the worlds that you live in because you live in you wear many hats, I guess I should say. How did the name 533 come about?
So 523 is, as you guys know who are watching, when you're setting up your rates on your drone, everybody's like, oh, what rates do you run? What's this? What's this? What like super
Mm,
rate? What RC rate? Whatever.
right.
And so there's, of course, in beta flight and all the flight softwares, there's a number on the right that tells you your maximum degrees per second. So when you put the stick all the way to the right, how many degrees per second is your drone rotating? And my rates so I've known, and I'm really picky. Like I have ran the same rates for like 3 years,
Mm,
and I tell anybody who's asking me how do I get better, is just pick rates, don't change them.
mm-hmm.
That's my first thing I tell them. And so that I started to kind of like be known for these rates, and they came out to 533 degrees per second. And started more and more people started using them. I mean, I was using them, and so then I tell people all the time. I think the hardest part about starting the business for me was coming up with a name. Like we had it all set up, we had the website, we had all this, but we needed a logo for which had to involve the name, and just have something to brand off of. And Matt, the guy who helped with the website and kind of mentoring me in the business, he
Mm-hmm.
was like, "We got to pick a name. We got to go for it." And he came up with the logo. He came up with he kind of just pushed me in the direction of like, let's go 523. And now it's been I mean, it is what it is. We went with it. I'm very happy with it. It's turned into a brand that I'm very happy about. And but that's where it's originated from, is my rates and beta flight from 3 or 4 years ago, which I think is kind of funny.
I think that's an awesome story. Seriously, I didn't know that. So I think hopefully viewers or people out there are going, 533, that makes sense now. That's really cool. Uh,
Yeah.
so are you an analog or digital guy? I mean, I know you have to. What do you fly? Analog or digital?
Yeah.
What do you
So
like?
I fly analog. I mean, for all the racing stuff, of course, we want the low latency. We don't really care about the image. So I fly all analog stuff for the most part. I mean, I've started getting into filming and stuff and freestyle, and I do have a DJI system, of course. For like any big shoots, they all want DJI. So I've got like the Thicks
Mm.
and the Sicarios or whatever that have DJI on them. And so that I do run DJI for that stuff, and it's great. It's really cool to see a big corporation like DJI getting into FPV and growing it the way they have in the
Mm.
last year or so. So there's all these people who like hate on DJI, like I don't want you in my space and all this stuff. And
Mm.
from my perspective, and someone who runs a business within FPV, I think that is dumb to try and shy them away from it. Or to push them away from FPV, and they're going to bring in so many people, and if you can and like inject all these people into FPV, you're not going to just help DJI. You're going to grow all of, like the economy of FPV and all of these
Mm.
small companies such as 533, such as Pyro Drone. And so I think it's really cool, and I support Fight and DJI and all the stuff they're doing. But I, of course, with racing, we all stick to analog for right now. But I'm excited to see where all this goes in the future.
Yeah, it's the amazing quality is incredible. I think it's brought a lot of pilots back who were frustrated with the analog signal, especially those freestyle guys. And
Yeah.
you mentioned freestyle, so tell me what's your favorite trick? What do you like? What are you working on? What do you got?
So I started out flying doing freestyle. But then I got into racing. I'm very competitive. I probably more than I should be, I would say. And so I kind of shied away from freestyle, went into racing full speed. But I do a little bit of freestyle here and there. And my biggest thing is I want to, I think if you want to be good at freestyle and you're really not that good at freestyle, as long as you fly close to things, like whether that be a tree, the ground, whatever it is, people will think you're better than you are. So my biggest thing is if I come out of a dive, I want to be that high off the ground. If I want to fly around a tree, I want to be that close to the tree. And I might not have the best flow or whatever. And I mean, I don't really post freestyle videos at all, but I want to get close to stuff. And I think that if you're out there watching right now and you like, I want to be good at freestyle, but I'm really not that good, then just get close to stuff and don't safe things, please. Like, don't like go flying around people and say, "Well, I told you to fly close to things." Please fly close to trees and whatever else that's not going to hurt anything or cost you money. But that is as far as freestyle goes. I don't do it much, but that's my trick for freestyle, I guess.
You know, kids take note. Like, write that down because that is, I've never heard that before. And that's gold. I mean, really,
Yeah,
when you're watching those videos, that's something that's so exciting. So very
yeah.
cool. Awesome. So, have you ever thought about doing like flying a plane in real life or getting your pilot's license or doing something like that?
Yeah. So, I'm
Tell me
getting my
about that. Oh, really?
yeah, yeah.
Oh.
So I have been in aviation my entire life, of course, and I've been interested in planes and anything that flies for so long. But of course, I'm not going to college, so I'm trying to make up, like backup careers, things to put on a resume, and just if all this stuff falls through tomorrow, like what would I do? Um, so I decided I was going to go into getting my pilot's license, and I told myself when I started DRL that if I won the world championship, that I would reward myself and go get my pilot's license. So I won DRL, which I was very, very happy about. And I
Congrats.
was like, okay, well, let's go get a pilot's license. So I went into my local airport, told them what I was looking to do, and they were all for it. They had a local flight school, which has been great. But I've been in it for about 2.5 weeks now. I think I have like 12 or 13 hours flying. I'm flying for people who are interested. I'm flying a Cessna 172, very like cliche, just like that's your normal training airplane.
Mm-hmm.
I have, oh my gosh, I've loved every second of it. I've flown in small planes before. I've obviously got to fly in a lot of big planes, doing traveling to different races. But it's just been so cool to, I mean, I get to see the world from the goggles perspective all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But then now to take that same challenge, put yourself in the pilot seat literally, and get to learn all these new things. I love learning things, soaking up that information, and learning more about how our drones fly, how these planes fly. It's been really cool because not only are you're seeing what's going on and you're looking at the speed indicators and you're looking at all this, but you're seeing how it affects you like as you're sitting there. And I think that that's really cool. Something I'm interested in. Not everybody will enjoy it, of course, but it's something I've always been interested in, and I'm was able to get into it. So I'm really enjoying that. I've only been doing it for like 2.5, 3 weeks now, but I've loved every second of it. And I hope to keep doing it as just, I mean, even just a hobby in the future to go out, I mean, fly to lunch, fly to the beach, something like
Right.
that. It sounds
So,
cool to
so
me.
you
And
you physically have flown the plane. I mean, you said 12 hours or something like that in of flight time. So I mean, you've had the
yeah,
sticks in hand and you're controlling the plane and you're flying.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
exactly.
doubt.
I fly just 3 or 4, like 4 or 5 times a week. I'd probably say 3 or 4, and that's where I go straight from school. 5 through 3. We now have an employee. We have an employee who goes down to the shop, works, does all the packages for me, which is so nice. His actually one of my best friends from school works for me now, which is cool.
That's
And
cool.
then when he goes down there and does that, I go out to the airport, go fly for a couple hours, and I come back, see him as he's getting off, help him however I can, and yeah, that's kind of what I do now. I'm trying to stay busy, and of course, when you're applying yourself to so many different things, it does get hard to like manage your time and stuff. But I love that like grind per se, and doing all this, trying to get good at everything I'm doing as fast as possible. But it's definitely keeping. It's made me manage my time, manage my energy, and just something I'm really just happy to do. I love flying, and it's been a really cool experience.
Has there been any surprises or scary moments or things that made you nervous? Like, have you been in any
Yeah,
like white knuckle
one.
moments? Yeah.
One. And Stephanie, if you're watching this right now, I'm so sorry. But I one of my second times I went flying, it was this my I was a new flight instructor. Her name is Stephanie, and She recently just got a job and is not going to be a flight instructor, so she's going off to fly a big airplane. So really cool. But she was my flight instructor for the day, and we were going up practicing, doing all these things. It's my second time flying, and we were doing all this cool stuff. I was enjoying it. Of course, I mean, I'm still like a kid in a candy store, like looking out the window, like this is so cool. But we did a few turns, steep turns and stuff, and she was helping me get through it and everything. And then she says, well, and I was doing well, and she said, "Well, if you can do that so well, what are you going to do now?" And she puts the engine to idle, like she simulates a engine failure. So I'm like, whoa, okay. So then I go through the protocol of what happens when you have an engine failure. So you're supposed to set your descending speed to like 70 knots and do these certain things and turn on carb heat and do all these. I mean, that's what I love about flying right now. Is just like there's so many things you have to remember to do, and it's so cool because it's really affecting you as you're in the air. But we're sitting there, and she's treating it like it's real life. Like look for a field, look for an open interstate and stuff. And I'm like sitting here freaking out, shaking. But we get down to about 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet, and I like the people are starting to get bigger, the cars are starting to get bigger. We're starting to see like the trees and stuff. And finally, she's like, "Okay, we can go." And then she turns it back on, and we go back off. But I was like, I mean, I just met that lady 30 minutes late or 30 minutes earlier. Now we're 1,000 feet off the ground, hoping they'll die.
Wow.
But that gave me, I guess, a lot. To see how much confidence she had in the airplane, that gave me some confidence, I guess. So it was scary at the time, but it was definitely scary, and I was freaking out well past the landing. But it was, I mean, I've done it. I obviously got back in the airplane the next day, so it didn't scare me too much.
Wow. You ever think about jumping out of one of those airplanes? You ever think about skydiving or anything crazy like that?
Well, if my mom is watching, then definitely not. Yeah, but
Right.
but I mean, I don't know. I feel like I probably wouldn't do it every day. But yeah, it's like a bucket list type thing. Maybe you go and skydiving. I feel like it'll end up on my bucket list. It probably is already there. I turn 18 in like 20 or what, like 16 days.
Wow.
So I
But
mean,
who's
you're allowed
counting?
to skydive
Who's
after you
counting?
turn
Right.
18. Yeah, but who's
Yeah.
counting?
Right.
And so maybe I don't know. I'm sure I might be able to get a sweet deal for some skydiving at the local flight school. But who knows? And again, my mom would probably kill me. But I mean, I might the skydiving might kill me first. So, but I don't know. Hopefully I plan. I'd say I'll probably end up doing it. But hey, I don't
what
know yet. I don't know. I'll
what
put some
other
thought.
crazy hobbies do you have, or what other crazy ambitions to do crazy things do you have? Do you own a one wheel? There's a good question.
I do. I own a one wheel.
There you
Um,
go.
yeah.
That's
I
standard
so
drone
I
equipment. Standard drone
Yeah,
equipment
that
is a
really
one wheel.
is.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, so people always ask me like when I obviously fly and I race and compete a lot, and they ask how to get to like the next level. And being a professional in this, I think it's really important to maintain that like spark and that drive. I like a lot of people who become professional have kind of tailored off just because like it's turned into a job to them, and they
Mm-hmm.
haven't done as well. Just because it wasn't as fun for them. When you do a
Mm-hmm.
job, you might be good at it, but you're never gonna like go above and beyond to be the best at your job, maybe, unless you really love it. And that's kind of been, I want to keep that love behind it all the time, and that's that passion. So I've tried to find other hobbies that keep me interested. So I have my racing and my drone rate in the business and all that stuff, but I do things like I'm big into disc golf. So if you guys ever play disc golf, it's
Yeah.
cheap.
Yeah.
You can go
Yeah.
play courses for free, and it's just something me and my buddies do. Of course, we all are in high school. If there's a nice evening, it's been cold here in Tennessee recently, but we'll go out to the local university. They have a great little disc golf course. Go play around with your buddies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just something that it frees your mind up, and I've really enjoyed doing that. Other than that, I play the cello, and I've started getting into the guitar. Um, so the cello is like, for those who don't know, it's an instrument we play in an orchestra, and I've done that since I was in the fifth grade. So I'm in 12th grade now, been doing it for a while. Something I love to do. As I was telling you earlier, I used to take it super, super seriously, but then I kind of started to focus on like taking the racing side of things more seriously and trying to be the best at that. So now it's turned into more of just a hobby that I really enjoy doing. Um, So I'm a part of my high school orchestra that I do. So I play every single day doing that, which is a hobby that I'm into. I'm also
Wow.
into running and cycling. So like I run, I try and run or cycle every day. I went on a big bike ride today. I'm very fortunate to live by the Smoky Mountains here in East Tennessee. So me and my actually employee and friend, we were like, it's a beautiful day out. It got up to 65 degrees, which I know you're in the Bay Area. It's probably freezing for you, but it's been cold here recently. So we decided we were gonna push off the work for today until later in the afternoon. I didn't have to fly till later in the afternoon, so we just went out on a bike ride, which was it was so nice to go up into the mountains in the shade and the feel of the wind that didn't burn your face because it was so cold. It was just so nice, and I love doing that. It keeps me. I mean I do that type of stuff to keep me fresh for the racing and stuff. Just like I was trying to get to the next level of competing, and I felt like I was losing by just 1% here and there. And what I did to kind of break over that barrier was I started like exercising and working out over quarantine to try and get that like mental edge over people and have that mental stamina for that finals heat. And that's kind of what sparked my, I guess, passion and drive and to exercising and staying fit. So that's something I've enjoyed doing. I don't diet or do anything crazy. I love food way too much, but I mean, I love things. I'm never going to be no bodybuilder or anything like that. But I love, going to a nice bike ride with your friends, going on a run with a buddy that you haven't seen in a while. That I've really enjoyed doing that, and just being in nature. I'm a big sucker for a nice sunrise or a sunset or something like that. So as you can tell, I try and keep a lot of hobbies outside of FPV that keep me busy at all times. I mean, now flying real planes has turned into a hobby for me. So I'm never bored, and I love that. I don't want to be bored. I've always got something on my plate, and that's just what keeps me busy, I guess.
Well, how did you get your nickname Heads Up?
That is an interesting one too. So the name Heads Up came from one of the first times I flew a drone, and this was my good buddy Sam Pancratz. He's still one of my best friends. He got me into flying drones actually, and he flying. So I come from planes, and I remember him bringing his first racing drone over, and we were flying out at this place, standing in the shade. And I mean, this was like 4 or 5 years ago. Really crappy camera. I was obviously not too in control of the drone, but long story short, I was gonna hit a gap in between these trees, and lo and behold, this gap was the gap that we were standing in, and I actually hit Sam, my best friend, in the face with a drone. And luckily, I was going slow. I was not the racer that I was today, or that I am today, I guess. Back then, I was just cruising, putting along, and it cut up his lips and his mouth a little bit. But I forever am in debt to Sam, I would say. But he ended up being totally fine. He's got a little scar under his lip, but I mean, hey.
Hey.
That you win some, you lose some, I guess. But we're still friends, believe it or not. I think that's the craziest part of the whole story, is that he's still my friend after that. But no, Sam has been really big. He's been one of my best friends, of course, and been so instrumental into what I've become today as far as flying and being in drones and RC. It's largely in part to him. So I am always trying to do whatever I can. And whenever he wants anything, he can always hold the, well, you hit me in the face with a drone against me. So I feel like I owe it to him a little
So
bit.
he started calling you Heads Up?
Well, yeah, so he hit me, and that was before I got into racing. We were going to go to our first race a few months later, and I was like, well, I need a racer name if I'm going to be going to a race tomorrow. And he's the one who actually picked it out, and he said I should be Heads Up. And it's stuck ever since, I guess. And not many people know the truth behind it. Not exactly something I go around screaming to everybody, I guess. I don't want to tell people. And especially like if you're at a park and like, well, why is your name Heads Up? And you tell them that you hit somebody, and they're like, oh my gosh. But I was like, I promise I'm a little bit better now.
I love it.
But that is where that came from. Yeah. But I've definitely I've not hit a person since, which is good. And I plan, knock on wood, and I plan to keep it that way.
I love it, dude. That's great inside information there, guys. That's so cool. Just wanted to remind everybody that we do have that raffle going. Heads Up has been generous enough to donate a frame for us and some motors. Unbelievably cool stuff. So if you haven't entered that raffle yet, please do. That's super cool. So next question for you here. The sport is growing. It's growing fast and slow. It's kind of it's weird how it ebbs and flows. Where do you see the sport of drone racing in particular in like 5 years? Where's it going?
Yeah, that's that is a absolutely amazing question that I don't think many people know. Obviously, DRL is like the premier racing league right now. And I don't see that changing at all. They are doing amazing things, partnering with companies like T-Mobile, Body Armor, Champion, all these like name brands, and bringing all these people and money into the sport, which is so cool. But I really don't know where drone racing will be in 5 years. And I mean, that as far as a career in my eyes, I mean, I'm trying to build all these things around me to where if drone racing could disappear tomorrow and I'll still be okay type thing. But I drone racing is what I love. I love doing it. I love the competition, the community behind it, and the passion that I have for it is unwavering. But as far as where it will be in 5 years, I have absolutely no idea. DRL is trying to be a live sport. Like they want you to go to a stadium, buy a ticket, go in, get your popcorn, get your hot dog, hamburger, whatever, sit there and watch a drone race and have the drones fly over you, and you're sitting there watching the live feeds. And I think that is just so epic. And it could be so cool in theory. And I think they're really trying to do that, and they're growing every single year. And of course, with COVID, that's made it difficult. But I don't know, and it just depends how the FPV community itself grows. It's all racing's not going to grow unless the community does first, and vice versa. So with companies again like DJI and all these people making FPV more easy to get into, I really think we're going to start to see that as the racing community grows, as the FPV community grows, and all the ways that it is. It'll all kind of grow together, and I'm excited to see that. And I am so excited to see the grassroots people still there. Of like, I've been doing this for so long, and I mean, I've grown up with so many of these people at this point. Like, my entire teenage years have been spent around these people that like I've grown up with them. They've seen me grow up. I've got to grow up with them, and it's been really cool. So even if turns into millions and millions and millions of pilots here and everywhere, I think it'll be really cool just to have that grassroots group of guys that we have right now that'll always be there. And I'm excited for that, regardless where FPV goes in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I always have like that family, I guess you could say, within that community.
That is awesome. A question from the floor we had is, let's see here. How close is the sim to the real Racer 4? So when you're flying a actual real Racer 4 in real life compared to when you're flying it in the sim, how close is that particular comparison?
Yeah, that's a question we get a lot, and I would say it's undoubtedly closer than you would ever imagine, really. And like I've heard people say, "Oh, I tried the DRL sim, and it was too heavy, and it didn't feel like a real drone." And that's what the DRL, that's what the Racer 4 flies like. They are big, heavy pigs. They were flying around at full throttle all the time, and it's such a cool experience because like you're not sitting there piddle pattering the throttle, you're just pegged. You go into a corner, and you're just sitting there looking at the guy in front of you, trying to manage your energy and cut in front of him in the next turn. But it's so incredibly realistic. And, I put in like, I think it's 1,200 hours over this entire DRL season practicing to do the best that I can. Obviously, that is a lot. But it really applied a lot back to flying in real life. And I was able to practice in real life, and that transferred to my flying on the sim and vice versa. And when you're seeing things like that, then you can really kind of start to understand and accept that it is really close. So it's been a great training tool. I know sims are a big thing for a lot of people, but as far as DRL goes, that's been a really cool thing. And then going back to practicing for DRL, of course, flying the sim is one thing, but you can't buy a Racer 4. So that is where the Tiny Trainer came from. So we have the 533 Tiny Trainer, and that was actually at the beginning made for me to have a tool to train for DRL. It was just this tiny little, and I mean, I showed you earlier in the stream, but here's the Racer 4, the DRL one we race on the show.
That's so cool.
And then here's the Tiny Trainer. It's just like a little tiny version of it. The camera's in the same position and everything. It's got the fin on the back, the whole 9 yards. But that is another way that I've been able to train is, and then when you shrink down the drone, you don't need a stadium to practice for DRL. You can make these DRL tracks in your backyard, and then you get a couple buddies who have them as well. They're super strong. I mean, it's like a tank. You have the cheap 3-cell batteries. All your components fit in there. Like, it uses like a tiny board to run the motors, Motors are cheap, props are cheap, everything's just cheap and easy on these things. They're super durable. And then you can race with your buddies. And that's what we've been doing over this entire winter is really like we're having the 5v3 Winter Warehouse Tiny Trainer Spec Series. So that means you have to fly the Tiny Trainer, the motors, and the props. And when you go out there, nobody's going to have a better setup than you. You're going to have the same setup, and it makes racing even more fun than it already is just because it's all pilot skill. And it's been really cool to see all these people, and we have LED kits for them so they can light up just like the Racer 4, and it feels like you're on DRL and you're flying a $200 little drone with a 3-cell battery that costs you $12 that you charged and have your little LEDs on it. And I think that's been a really cool thing to see people experience, just because not everybody is lucky enough to be on the DRL and to get to fly a Racer 4 and so forth. And I mean, the sim is a great tool, don't get me wrong, and I think it's really cool if you want to experience it. But if you want to fly with your buddies and have a little mini DRL, then that's what we've done with the Tiny Trainers. Try and build something like that for everyone to experience, low budget, low cost, and have supported by somebody like ourselves that are trying to help the community as much as we can. And again, shipped out right 2 stories below where I am right now in my basement.
Yeah, 533.com, guys. If you haven't been there, definitely check it out. And of course, he was generous enough to raffle one of those off for us. So it's like 27 minutes left in the raffle, guys. So if you haven't entered, make sure you enter that thing. That's going to be super cool. And you said a mini DRL in your backyard type of thing. That is like the coolest concept ever, to take the tracks that we see in the DRL and then race them on a tiny trainer. That's awesome. What an awesome concept. I would really love to see this. Right?
Yeah, I'm sure I've got a video. I'll see if I can find it here. It's really cool because we were trying to think of, like, it's really difficult for me to practice for DRL because I want to, of course, practice for DRL just like it would be in real life.
Right.
And I don't have a big stadium, and yes, you can go out and fly in a field.
Right.
But I wanted to fly in my backyard. I want to fly right there. That way I can practice more than everybody else. And that's kind of where the Mondo came up with it. It was his idea to come out with the tiny trainer, and we just shrunk it down. And then that means you shrink the drone down, you shrink the top speed down, and now you can bring the tracks to you in your backyard in a parking lot. I mean, I practice in a local parking lot that has lights at night. I mean, all the time. Like before I go to a race, I'll go out to the parking lot at night, throw up a couple pop-up gates. Another thing, you don't need these huge gates we fly on DRL. You can fly through tiny gates, and it makes the gates bigger because, I mean, it fits in the palm of my hand. So now you go from maybe you're going to clip a gate to now you've got all this room, and it makes it a lot easier and a lot more forgiving, of course. If this will come in focus, we'll see. But here is the tiny trainer race that Armando has been hosting out in St. Louis.
Wow.
So it looks like real DRL, and you'll see little specks fly by here and there, and those are the other tiny trainers. So these are guys all flying the exact same drone, and Armando's got, of course, these super cool lit up tracks, and it feels like a miniature DRL. You pay $20 to get on the entry fee, buy your ticket, show up in St. Louis, and now you can fly with all these guys. And you're not going to be on NBC or anything like that, but you can still compete with your buddies, find those guys who you want to beat, and all with just a little tiny quad that you're flying in these cool tracks, and it feels like you're on DRL. So I think that's a cool thing that Armando's done for sure.
Oh, that's
and something we're
very happy. Insanely cool. Yeah, I'm going to St. Louis this weekend now to go do that. I mean, seriously, that is so cool. Like, every town should have that. We have breweries that we fly through here and put little tiny rope tracks in, but that was cool, like specifically for that. And on those DRL tracks, do you scale that down a little bit? So obviously you measure. Are you flying it to scale? Like, this is the same setup, or is it just to get warmed up?
So it's I of course do all my practicing on the Racer 4 itself, but if it's raining, like I have a video of like me practicing in my garage. We have like a three car garage, and I set up a track in my garage, and just to keep your fingers warm, keep you warmed up and stuff. It's such a cool little training tool, and it's not going to be 1-to-1, and no, it's not going to be perfect, and no, you can't just shrink the track down and be on DRL. But the concept is there, and it's scaled down, I would say, to be as close as you can, and it's fun. So it definitely just my biggest thing when I'm saying I want to get better at racing or I want to continue getting better is as long as it's staying fun for me, then I'll continue to improve. So this has just been something that I've been able to do,
Mm,
fly with local pilots,
mm,
fly with my dad, fly with
mm.
things like that. Keeps it fun. And then if I need to go practice for real for a big race, then yeah, sure, I'll take the racer four out. We'll go fly through these big gates and big field, and I have to spend all day out there. But if I just want to throw a couple small batteries on charge and go mess around before the sun goes down, like this, it's the perfect little backyard basher, I would call it. And it's been something that yes, we can sell and other people enjoy. But I mean, if all these products that I sell are some things that I use and enjoy, so and people are just, I'm lucky that other people enjoy them as well.
That's the key to it. That's the key to success right there. You mentioned your dad flies a bunch. I mean, how good is your dad? Is he a great pilot, an okay pilot? Is he a terrible pilot? I mean, we can be real. How good's your dad of a pilot?
He is and like I said, we started together a while back, and he was upset at first because I was getting better than him faster, I'd say.
Right.
But let me see if I can find a video from him. He's actually he's good, and I would say he competed at the pro class this year for MultiGP,
Oh
which is,
wow.
I mean, that's something in
Yeah,
itself, I would say.
definitely.
Um, and he's no slouch for sure. I think he flies more than I do, honestly. Just in our backyard. I'm scrolling through Facebook now, trying to find a video. Here we go. I'll skip through it here. All right, this is his FPV name is Quad Doc.
Ah.
He's a doctor, so he's a real doctor. But this is him flying around. This is our backyard. So he's got, of course, we have gates and set up everywhere. But he's known for being ultra consistent. He's great under pressure. He's not going to go out there and crash trying to beat you. He's just flying at his own pace all the time. But he's no slouch. And if you want to talk about somebody who has fun and loves flying, it's him 100%. This is something he loves, and of course, I've been very fortunate to make this like very big part of my life, and he loves supporting me and doing all he can there to enjoy that with me. So this has been a great little thing for us, that has stayed with me for ever since I was 6 years old.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, he loves it every bit as I do, and he flies all the time, and he just has a ball with it.
That's probably the best part about being an FPV is to be able to do it with your dad or someone that you really care about like that. I mean, and the fact that you just want to do it till it's not fun anymore makes so much sense. I mean, that's so smart of you to think that way. So let's talk a little bit about your sponsors.
Yeah.
You still taking applications? Are you what do you got going on there? How many sponsors you got and who are they?
Well, um, I definitely have sponsors for sure. Yeah, and I think that has kind of been a shift
Mm,
over the course of the business being started. Is like, yes, I used to be sponsored for frames and for motors and props and all this, but now is the now I'm kind of the one giving out sponsors. Now people come to me asking for to sponsor them, which has been really cool. But I've again have had people supporting me for a very long time, and I'm very appreciative of that. I have companies like HQ, like the prop company.
mhm,
They actually, crazy enough. So we have of course HQ propellers, but this canopy for the tiny trainer is actually made by HQ out of the same propeller plastic and the same molding. So you can count on it being super durable. um, but I would say, I mean, obviously, my biggest sponsor that I work hard for to maintain is 533, I guess. But I mean, I own it.
yep.
So,
Good answer.
uh, yeah. But other than that, I would say Flight One has been a big sponsor for me. Hobby Wing ESC, so that's my flight controller and ESC setup that I go with right now.
Mm,
RunCam has been a big supporter for me. The cameras for the longest time. Lumineer as well with antennas and all Lumineer products. They've been a big help. And then aside from that, everything is, and then of course, Team Black Sheep, running the tracer system and the Unified, big supporter
mhm,
there. And I love all those companies. And I always want to support companies that support the industry. And all those companies have been big in supporting races and other pilots and stuff. So I'm happy to help them however I can.
mhm,
But now, yeah, we have the 533 frames, the motors, the
mm,
just the propellers, the whole 9 yards there, and it's only going to grow.
mhm.
So I am very, very happy and thankful for all sponsors have done for me over the years. But I would imagine that I'll only shift to doing more and more 533 stuff as time goes on. But it wouldn't have been possible for me to get where I am without them, and I'm
Mhm.
forever grateful and in debt to what they've done to help me out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some awesome 533 flight controllers and 533 ESCs. I mean, I'm sure it's all in the works, so that's really cool. Um, so, who is your favorite pilot?
My favorite pilot. That's a good one. Ooh, um, well, I will go racing, and then I guess in general, I would say if you had to ask me who my favorite pilot was in racing right now, this will be a hot take for sure. Not many people will probably even know them. Um, yeah, I'll go for the sleeper in it. So I actually started competing in RC when I was when I was 11. I won my first national championship when I was 11 years old flying RC
Wow.
airplanes.
Mhm.
And obviously I had a lot of people that I competed with in that, and one of them was a guy named Cal. And Cal is somebody who's about 6 months younger than I am, and I've known him since I was about 7 years old, competing in RC airplane competitions. And we've kind of grown up together. He lives in Florida, I live in Tennessee, but we've really kind of grown up together flying. And he's always been way better than I am at RC airplanes. He's a killer pilot, always known for being one of the best in the world. And I kind of broke off from the RC airplane side. I still do it. I still love RC airplanes, but I started doing drones. And he more recently started getting into drones. And his name is Fiddy Cal. That's his FPV name,
What is
Fiddy
it?
Cal.
Fiddy cow?
Fiddy, like Fiddy, and then Kal. His name is Cal.
Okay.
And he is not the fastest pilot right now. I'll give him that, but he's one of the fastest improving, I would say, by far. He's got one of the best personalities you'll ever meet, and he's one of those guys. It's like electric when you go and watch him race and stuff. He's always just amped up about it. He's essentially my brother, I would say, at this point. I've known him for so long, and we know each other so well. Um, but he got into drones just like over the summer, and now he's kind of came onto the into the scene out of nowhere and started like competing with some of the best pilots in the world. And I mean, I wouldn't expect it from anybody else but him, but like he has just brought that. I mean, I was the same way. I picked it up really fast coming from RC planes, but he came on and is now starting to really do well. So I'm looking forward to him, and of course seeing a friend that I've known for so long get into what I'm doing and be able to support him through 533 and stuff and push him and help him get better in FPV has been really cool. But I would say he will be one of the top pilots in the next year, like one of the best, I think. That's my hot take. Not many people know about it right now, but I mean, it's February 10th, 2020. I think
Fiddy
this
cow.
time next year, I think he'll be one of the best in the world. Just my hot take on it.
You heard it here
Um,
first.
you did, and he's gonna be so embarrassed that I just said that. And I'm probably gonna get a lot of crap, but that's my hot take. And then I'd say in general, my favorite pilot. I'm a really big fan of just people who have kind of gone out and pioneered the sport. And I know it might be cliche or whatever, but like Johnny FPV and Mr. Steele, I really respect what they've done. As far as like Mr. Steele has gone and Nurk, another big one, who have kind of taken FPV and turned it into something bigger than it ever was. Johnny FPV leading the charge as far as filming and making FPV drones popular in filming, and Mr. Steele kind of turning FPV into like a lifestyle brand. He's done what he's done with ethics. His company is something that I respect so highly, and it's really cool to see pilots like that go from they're just your average Joe people. We're all just your average Joe people, and they're turning FPV into something bigger than we could have ever imagined. And I respect that so much. And sure, you might not like Mr. Steele, you might not like Johnny or whoever. And I don't care. But you really have to look past like anything like that and just kind of understand how much they've done for us. And I mean, myself as someone who's running a business in FPV, those people are bringing customers to me. They are pushing FPV, making it bigger and helping me out. And I just totally respect what they're doing. And those are, I would say, a lot of people get caught up in the politics of I don't like you, I don't like this, I don't like this, whatever. And it's just you really have to understand that we are all in this together, and we're all trying to grow this together. And I really respect people like that that have done so much for the sport.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. And it's weird that, it's not a catty group of people at all, but when you get to that highest level, there's a lot at stake there, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
brand imaging and a lot of things that are at stake besides just a couple guys hanging out and flying drones. So it's kind of crazy when it gets to that level, but it's so amazing that the camaraderie that we have amongst drone pilots is, I think, something special that this hobby has that not many hobbies have, where we all are in it together. We all try and get everybody in the air. Everybody,
Yeah, for
no
sure.
pilot left or no drone left behind. I mean, how many times have you looked for somebody's lost drone? It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, exactly.
But
It's
that's
it's
the
it's
spirit of it.
mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, and
que-
I think go ahead.
no, go right ahead.
I would say the community within FPV is something that most people don't realize until they're actually in. It's so hard to tell people about it, understand it. But I think it's really cool that, I mean, you go to a motocross race, you go to a skateboarding event, and you see the top 10 best X's in the world. Like they're the best in the world at that.
Hmm.
And you go there, they're like unapproachable. You don't want to go up to them, and they're like you're scared of them,
Right,
and
right.
they just seem like this like godlike like figure almost. And I think that's really cool about FPV is like we're all, I mean, you still might have those people who like seem like that and they might be the best racer, the best freestyler. They filmed at some crazy movie or something, but they are 99% of these guys are all willing, I mean, to come on and do a live stream and take a couple hours out of the day to do a live stream or
Yep.
to go help you get your quad working, get a tune on your quad, give them your rates, do whatever. And I've had so many people like I mean message me and be like, hey, like, oh, like you responded, whatever. It's like, yeah, of course I responded. Like, of course I want to help make FPV what it is today. And I think that's so synonymous among all of these top guys is that we all want to, we understand that we won't be where we are today without the community behind it. We want to support you guys as much as possible. We want you to have the best experience as possible. So I think that's really unique about FPV and in response to all the other things is if you've ever gone to do something you made the best in the world, there's this like untouchable like figure, and it's not like that at FPV, and I think that's really cool and special.
Yeah, I mean, I've never flown with you in any of the DRL lobbies, but I have flown with some of the best pilots out there. It's amazing that those guys show up. What's the deal with that in the DRL lobby? Do you guys have your own special lobby, or is it? Do you guys? How does that work? How come we never see you guys in there?
Yeah, so I don't really spend too much time in the DRL Discord as far as like when I'm practicing. We have like a little group of guys. It's not even DRL pilots, so just me and my buddies. They all get on and fly Velocitron or DCL or whatever else, and I mean I usually practice DRL. But we usually get on a little Discord, just like our little group of friends, and we get on talk at night, talk about girlfriends and high school and whatever else there is to talk about.
Do you
And
fly in the DRL lobbies though? I mean, the regular game lobbies.
yeah. We fly in those. I typically most of my practice is done in just single player, just trying to improve my time, study my lines, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But we usually, I mean, sometimes we'll get on and fly in multiplayer lobbies and stuff. But usually when I get on to practice, like I'm trying to just study my lines as much as possible. And I usually every time I get on, I try and get into a lobby just one time, hop in, like go fly with them. Of course, some people get excited about that type of stuff, and I try and hop in, play with them for a little bit, and then get on about my practicing and so forth. But
Sure.
I definitely, especially during like the season, I love getting in and talking to people and they like seeing where I'm at as far as my
Mm-hmm.
practice goes, and I like just getting to talk to new people and answer their questions.
So is your DRL pilot name Heads Up in the
Yes.
sim? Oh, cool.
Yep.
Well,
I'll go as
I'll look for you sometime.
yeah. Check. You'll probably see me here or there. I'm sure.
uh, question from the floor here: do you think you'll be able to dominate in real life like you did in the sim, or do you think it's going to be closer in real life? Because you were absolutely dominant. You didn't even have to do the last race because you were so dominant. It was crazy how far ahead of these guys you were. So, do you think in real life, do you think it's going to be that dominant, or do you think it's going to be a little closer? I guess is the question.
Yeah, and I don't know off the top. I was very fortunate to have a great season, my first season DRL, and it was as you saw on the sim. But I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to what I mean. It comes down to who's hot that season. I had a great first season, and I was very fortunate to be at the level I was. But I mean, we could run that season over again tomorrow, and the results might be completely different. As far as like whether I'll perform the same way in real life as I did in the sim, I'm kind of almost glad that it was all simulator because I think even right now, like people are still doubting the validity of me winning DRL of like, oh well, he won on the sim and Vanover dominated in real life and so forth. And don't get me wrong, Vanover is is proven to be the best pilot in real life in DRL. But I think that I'm always trying to prove something. I'm always trying to go out and prove somebody wrong. So I am going to try as hard as I possibly can to do well in real life, of course. And I don't know what to expect. I've never flown in DRL in real life, but I can assure you that I will definitely go out and give everything that I possibly have to prove anyone out there saying that I wouldn't have won in real life or I would have done this in real life that it wasn't a fluke. And I mean, I might not win and I might not dominate, but by all means, if as long as I go out there knowing that I gave everything I had to do that reflects my performance, then I'll be happy. Whether that's first place or last place, I'm going to go out there and give it everything I have, and the results will speak for themselves come on race day. But I really I can't tell you because I've never flown in real life with DRL. So obviously it's the same pilot, same guys, same controller, same drone. But that environment is somewhere that I've never been as far as on DRL. So I'm sure I'll have my ups and downs throughout the entire season and trying to like gain my wings per se. But I will again once I get comfortable, I'll do the best I can, and I mean whoever goes into that finish gate first is the winner at the end of the day, and we'll just have to see what happens.
You are a 2-time multi-GP champion in real life, right? So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you do have that real life street cred, you know. It's like,
Yeah,
it's not like your
but
first time you showing up, but I mean it's different. MultiGP is so much different than DRL and how the drone flies and how it handles, and you know there is that aspect of it. But I think you have your head space has to be. It's a race. A race is a race, and you know doesn't really matter. So let's talk about something a little bit more fun. By the way, guys, we're down to the last 7.5 minutes. We have had the most generous guy in the world talking to us. We have 7 minutes and 41 seconds left before the raffle is over. And so hop in there, guys, and do that. And we'll probably wrap up right at that time because, yeah, look at that sucker. You know what? Can you hold up the big one again? That thing is freaking bomb, man. I mean, look at that. That is
you
so
can see the motors,
cool.
the big DRL motors on there.
Yeah.
And then you got this little one, and it's so cool to see them next to each other. We love seeing it every time. Doesn't get old.
No, dude, that thing is awesome. Here's a fun question, I guess. What's your favorite kind of music? What do you listen to? When you fly, is it different than in real life? I mean, what do you like to listen to when you fly, and what do you like to listen to in real life?
Yeah, so I listen to music when I fly. When I'm on DRL, I always have a song, and I have a song for the day, and
Okay,
I
cool.
will going through qualifying or practice. I like listening to music, and whenever I like find a song that it just feels like the right song, and it always comes. I don't know what it'll be when I wake up that morning. It's just I'm listening like that's the one. And oh my gosh, it varies so wildly. It goes from like songs by like Flo Rida, like just like these crazy, like just funny, like uh fun songs from like back in the mid 2000s, all the way to like Real Gone by like Sheryl Crow. And just it's so diverse and just whatever comes on that day that I like. And I like all kinds of music, and I go through phases, whether that's country or EDM or like rap, whatever it is. I'm always I love hearing, and there's like culture behind all this music, so it's so cool to kind of see all different types of music. And I'm of course have been very fortunate to travel to these places and kind of see it like in the flesh. So to listen to all these different types of music is something I enjoy. And of course, being an orchestra, I get to experience and play music every single day. Which I'm very happy about, and music is a big part of my life. But it's ever diverse, ever changing. So I really can't lay it down to just one thing right now.
What was the last thing you downloaded music-wise? What was the last song?
Let me look really quick. I'll tell you what I was listening to today. I was listening. Oh yeah, this is definitely it. It's the song is called "Bang" by AJR, and they're just like they are just a random band that I found that I really like. It's AJR. The song's called "Bang," and it was like the first warm day of the year here in Tennessee, and I got to go biking today, and got to go have one of my flight lessons, and it was the first day I love driving with my windows down, like that's my thing, love it. And so the first day I got to roll my windows down, play some music really loud, and that is a song I listened to driving back from the airport.
Love it. All right. They will now be a top #1 hit after being mentioned on this show. Their career has just taken off tremendously. We got another question from the floor. What was your favorite track this year?
From DRL, favorite track. That's a great question. There were 16 of them, so it'll be hard to go. I'll try and think. I would say my favorite one, oh yeah, this one. The London, it was like the 28 or 2017 World Championship. It was in London. And it was the one of the I think it was level 6-ish, or yeah, level 6 or 8, one of the two, something like that. And it was a London track, and of course these are environments that I've flown in before, but they're totally new tracks. So the DRL London track from this season 2020 was, I'd say, my favorite. But honestly, there were so many good tracks this year. I really, it's really hard for me to pick one. But that would be, if I had to fly one track for a long time, it would probably be the London track from this season.
Was it the flow? What was it about it that in particular?
Oh,
What
it was just
obstacle,
there.
or how did what made you go,
Yeah,
yeah?
it was one of the it had one of the most the track had more gates than like I think any other track on DRL this year, and it was technical, but it was also just so flowy, and we were like going from room to room, and there were blind turns, and they just, oh my gosh, you could just get in such a nice flow, I felt like. And some tracks people are better at than others, and that one just really clicked with me, and I picked it up from the very beginning. That was, I think, one of my better levels from DRL this year that I was really happy about was the London one.
Nice, nice. Here's kind of an off the wall question from William Perry, but it's important to him. Pineapple on pizza. Do you agree? Disagree? Where's your stand? Where do you stand on
I,
that?
I I love Hawaiian pizza. I do. I think Hawaiian pizza is great.
So you do
And
understand the importance of pineapple on pizza. You are on the
yeah,
correct side.
and if you would have asked me what 6 months ago, I would have been like, no, that's gross. But like I was like, I finally just like try. I just had it at a friend's house. His mom made pizza one night, and she was like, "It's Hawaiian," and I was like, "Okay, like I guess I'll eat it." And I was like, "This is fantastic." And so I'm right now, as it stands, a fan of pineapple on pizza. And you're not weird if you like
It, it,
pineapple on pizza, but
that is the
I
correct.
respect either decision.
That is the correct answer. You mentioned earlier that you like sushi as well. I mean, that you just kind of expanded your horizons. What is your favorite food? What do you like to eat?
My favorite meal right now, I would definitely say is it's from Food City, which is, I mean, I don't know if they have Food City around the country, but Food City is our local grocery store, and you get a steak and a twice baked potato that has cheese and bacon on it, and just that combo right there, I mean, your mom's cooking,
That's right.
it just hits different, I tell you. So that is, I'd say, my go-to meal right now is that. But I'm sushi, I would definitely say, is like top three right now.
Mm.
I like I was telling him earlier, I like hadn't had sushi until like 3 or 4 weeks ago, but now like, oh my gosh, sushi's great. And with Thai iced tea, you have to have the Thai iced tea with that.
Yes, yes.
And that's been my combo recently. I'd say if you for my meal of the month per se is the sushi with some Thai iced tea, and it's really good.
Hey, I just wanted to throw out, guys, we have 1 minute left of the trainer frame kit that Evan Turner has given away for us. It's the perfect backyard basher, guys, and he's going to throw in some motors. So you have exactly 1 minute left. If you want to, you just go explanation raffle to get in there. We got a bunch of people in there, so you still have a great chance of winning it, guys. So it's going to close up in 1 minute, and we'll get done. Where was your favorite place to travel to? You've been all over the world. You're 17. You've traveled more than people who have lived to be 107. Where was your favorite place? Where have you been that you're like, I
Oh,
got to go back? I'm going back to here for sure.
yeah, I would definitely say there's two places. I would say where somewhere I'd want to live and like I would love to live is like Switzerland, Austria area. I love mountains and I love like that type of scenery.
Mm.
And oh my gosh, I've gone there. I've been very fortunate to go to Switzerland multiple times, and it's just and Switzerland and Germany both are just such amazing places, and the Alps are right there. But then my second favorite place I would probably say is South Korea, and there was a race out there, and oh my gosh, it was so cool, and the culture was totally different, the food was different, the people were different. It was just so cool to experience that, and I actually got to go a few days early and stay with one of my friends in like the capital in Seoul before we went over to the race. And oh my gosh, Korea was just an amazing place. And yeah, those were probably my two favorite right there, Switzerland and South Korea.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. You ever feel like going to Australia? I mean, do you do tropical places too?
I want to go to Australia. I've never been to the Southern Hemisphere, really.
Yeah. So where do you
Um,
want to travel to? What's a place that you definitely have to go to?
yeah, I really want to go to Australia. And other than that, I mean, I don't have any. I mean, so I'm afraid of snakes. And what seems like once you get below the Southern Hemisphere, like Australia, they have snakes and spiders, which are just terrifying. But snakes, they really get to me. They've got, I mean, so I'd have to get over that fear. Maybe bring like snake repellent or something. I don't know if they make that, but I need some. Uh, but once I can get over that fear, then I'm down to go anywhere you throw me.
That's so awesome. Well, dude, you have such an amazing story at 17 already. I can't wait to see what your life unfolds to be. You're going to add so much to the community. Whatever you do, I know you're going to be extremely successful. So it's been such a pleasure and an honor to talk to you at this stage of your career, which you're so advanced already, and you have so much more to go in life. So, man, you're going to do great things in life. So I'm going to pick our winner here. Congratulations to, drum roll please, Big Speed FPV. Big Speed FPV, you are the winner. Congratulations. Evan will be sending you out the perfect backyard basher so that you too, and by the way, I'm going to go buy one myself because I want to go set up a DRL track in my backyard. You can get those at 533.com, guys. Evan, I'll send you his address, I guess. Big Speed
Yeah,
Deal.
just tell him to message me on Facebook, Discord, whatever it is. We'll get it figured out. So it'll go out tomorrow.
See, dude, that's so awesome. Well, Evan, I don't know what else to ask you. I think I know a lot more about you, and I think my followers and listeners are super appreciative to have been able to spend this time with you. So, man, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and say that, man, you're probably the best guest ever on there. You take Tony, sorry, Canoodle.
Tony Niddle. Yeah.
Yeah, Canoodle, sorry, man. Tony Niddle, you just lost the best guest spot, but oh well.
Thank you so much for having me. This is, of course, I was very happy to come on, talk to all your viewers and stuff, and you as well. But yeah, if we want to redo this in 6 months, a year, a month, I don't care. Just let me know, and we'll try and get it worked out for you. And but yeah, I appreciate you messaging me. And if any of you guys have any questions about 533 or me or whatever, just feel free to shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, whatever you want. I'm happy to keep in touch with you guys, and hopefully I'll get to see you guys soon.
Guys, you heard it here. He just said he would re-guest. He's already promised. It's been taped. It's on video. We're gonna see Evan again. So we look forward to you. Maybe I'd love to see you in 6 months or a year. We'll definitely keep up with you, man. So congratulations on all your success so far, and I wish you all the luck in the future, man. You're a great, awesome person. So congratulations on being cool.
Thank you. We'll have a better raffle next time.
Oh, no, that was awesome. Awesome. All right. Thanks, Evan. I appreciate it. You guys on the Bone Jar, thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's been a pleasure. You guys do nice things for other people. Be nice. Be cool. We'll talk to you guys soon. Aloha.
Excuse me, sir.
Out of the way, Pick.